Meep! What's up with all the construction here? Well, it looks like we're about to build something big, aren't we? Welcome back, my fellow duplicates, to Oxygen Not Included. So in the last episode here, we were able to build up our petroleum boiler over here. So this is converting crude oil into petroleum, but now we want to turn that into lots and lots of power. So what else should we build over here? My first thought is we have to do some sort of sour gas boiler. Now this will be a slightly different take on sour gas boiling because we're going to cause that conversion using heat over here. Okay, well, don't get me wrong, sour gas boilers always take heat, but rather than using an aqua tuner for the heat source, we're going to use magma. Now this actually opens up some opportunities to where you might be able to do a sour gas boiler using lower tier materials rather than using thermium or niobium. So we're going to try to build one of those, and that'll be right over here. And after we complete that, I'm going to have a little bit of thermal energy left in the material, hopefully. So at that point, we might as well just kind of shove it into steam. I was trying to do some stuff with a dirt converter, which I'm sure you'll see a video on either before or after this video. But that one didn't really work out all too well, or it wasn't too convincing, so I figure I will just leave it out of this design. So after we've done the sour gas boiler, I'm going to have many different generators. I'm going to have a little bit of petroleum left over. I'm also going to have the natural gas generators for all of that stuff. And then we're going to have a whole bunch of steam turbines that's going to try to do their thing as well. So that's all going to be packed into this area over here. However, before we can build more, there's something we need to take care of here. And that has to do with the frame rate. When I run this game at fast speed, it's currently under 10 frames per second, which is... oh, let me tell you what, it's hard to look at. It doesn't do too well for you guys watching the video, but imagine sitting here for like, I don't know, 6 hours? Oh, it's hurting. It's hurting me. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and get rid of some of these shine bugs. I did a video on the actual like bench testing and performance and whatnot, and the shine bug reactor is one thing that is guilty of a lot of frame loss. So we can see that at the fast speed, just looking at camera position 2, and that's usually where I do all of my measurements right here. The game is currently running right around 11 frames, 12 frames per second, maybe 10. The point is, not a whole lot. So first things first, let's go ahead and release these and just kind of see what happens when 150 shine bugs go into this area. Their population has actually increased over time. I kind of thought they'd be stable, but as it turns out, no, they've been continuing to repopulate, even though I haven't been feeding them more and more eggs. So just as I say that, there goes an egg. Sorry, I lied. I didn't know. So let's go ahead and open up this door. It'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. Joe Boxer, no! Don't release him! Oh, look at it go. Oh man, would you look at all those little guys? I would say the decor in this area is pretty good. Wow. Wow. Woo woo! Apparently they're overcrowded over here. Oh, it's because of the egg thing. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, no, it's a smaller room. That's why. That's actually a different room. If we go to the room overlay, because that's a power plant. What happens when I run the game fast now? Well, as you can see, it's still about the exact same frame rate. So by restricting their movement, or letting their movement be free like this, that really hasn't changed the performance at all, which is kind of disappointing. However, if you're easily disturbed, you might want to look away because we're going to murderize all of our shine bugs. Get them, dupes! Woo woo! It's for the frames! Please don't blame me. Alright, who's the first dupe? Catalina. It's open season on shine bugs. Have at it. Oh, the horror. All carnage is in on the action. We're still attacking him. Here, let's speed it up a little bit. All carnage wore himself out. Look at that, has to take a nap. No, don't do that. Get back to work. We still have like 100 shine bugs to go. We still have a bunch of eggs here, so we're gonna have to take care of that too. Shine nymph eggs, forever. Sun nymph eggs, forever. I'm gonna set this to sweep level 9. There we go. That's a lot of combat. There you go, pick up all those eggs. Otherwise they just keep hatching as we keep running through this area. Gosh, how many of them are there? Okay, so I've significantly reduced the amount of critters over here. Just a few left. Let's see how that does for us with the frame rate. 14 frames! Whoa! Hey, at least it's worth about 4 frames. Oh, maybe 2. Or 1. Now let's go ahead and spend that on a giant machine. Alright, so when dealing with a sour gas boiler, we're going to have the same sort of thing that we have going on over here, except for we're already working with petroleum. Matter of fact, looks like we are full on that machine. Okay. The real thing I want to figure out here is where is the conveyor rail going to go? I know already that I want to reverse the direction because this is currently flowing this way. I want it to go this way, and then come up here, and if possible, convert that petroleum into sour gas right there. I would also like to build a machine like this, which is essentially just a bunch of steam turbines right there with a cooling loop. It will be useful, especially the cooling loop part. There's a lot of stuff we got to plan out here. I'll tell you what, let me just lay the groundwork real quick and say our conveyors are going to be in this area. So if that's the case, I might want to have some thermal transfer going on right here in this area. All right, so if I'm going to put the rails right there, then if I kind of start to figure out what I want to do here, I think I'm going to want to bring heat in from either of these lines right there, or maybe just one of them. I'll tell you what, we'll do both from either of those, and then we'll bring it in just like that. Now, this is going to be the hot side, right around 550 degrees or so, when petroleum turns into sour gas. Okay, so in case you're not familiar with how a sour gas boiler works, essentially we take crude oil, it then turns into petroleum, 400 degrees Celsius, then goes into sour gas at 539 degrees Celsius. And then we have to cool that down to negative 162 to make liquid methane, and then that converts into natural gas at a slightly higher temperature. So you're trying to cool it down over here on the left, and then you're trying to heat it up over here on the right. And then once you do that, you end up with a bunch of natural gas that you can feed to natural gas generators. That gives you carbon dioxide. You also get a little bit of water out, so you can run that through a steam turbine. If it's at a hot enough temperature, you don't even need to sieve it out, and then that water feeds back into something like a oil well right there. So that's the whole process. Now the trick to making this whole thing here efficient is to try to use something that's really cold here to cool down something that's really hot, right? So your sour gas is incredibly hot, your natural gas will be burnt up. So if you can get your natural gas nice and hot and your sour gas nice and cold by just working with the two together like this, some sort of counterflow system, then you will have a very sort of efficient system. Now I've already covered sour gas boilers a bunch of times, so I know how to build a nice efficient system here, but this one's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to try to use steel instead of any of that thermium stuff. All right, so if we can imagine here, we have a bunch of sour gas that's flowing up. It'll flow over here, and then it'll cool back down. And then once it cools back down, it's going to be in a liquid form. Now, once it's in a liquid form, we want to turn that liquid into a gas. So we need to heat it up just a little bit. Where do we have really hot stuff? Right here. Okay, so I'm going to make this my boiler room. And the purpose of this room here is to turn liquid methane into natural gas. So its job is to expand that gas. Okay, so once I've done that, I want to pump out all of the natural gas in this area. This is kind of where I have to size the components as need be. I think in this example here, I'm just going to have 4 pumps for a total of 2 kilograms a second of natural gas. When you start to figure out just how many power generators that is, it's quite a few. Because you have natural gas generators, it consumes natural gas at 90 grams a second. So yeah, it should be more than enough. So what I'm going to do right here is just use a steel door as a thermocoupler, and I'll open it and close it to the sour gas that's flowing past this area. So that way I can bring in some of the heat over here and just boil it off. So there will be a thermal sensor down here, and that's going to tell me whether or not that thing should be open. All right, so at this point I have natural gas in 2 pipes right there. And all this area here is just going to be full of natural gas. Hopefully. I think I'll do an atmos sensor right up here just to kind of detect how much natural gas we have in this environment. That way I can turn these on and off as need be so that they don't run too much. All right, so now for a really important thing here is we need to be able to cool this stuff down. So that's where I'm going to put this pump right up here, just like so. Then using some steel tiles, built just like this. We don't want to be right down here. We just want to be right up here, just like that. This is going to be our cooling chamber. So any of that sour gas that finds its way over here, this is where it's going to be chilled, and it will be cooled just like this. By having walls on the side, it will cool it to a liquid, but not further. Same sort of thing that we're doing right here, just like this, but bigger. So the second that liquid hits the bottom, we're going to pump it out of there, and we're going to bring that liquid right down here. Now a good question is what to build the background tiles out of. I feel like Mafic is the obvious choice because it's just around here all the time, but I don't think it would look as cool. I would like to actually make something a little bit darker, like obsidian. That would be cool. But, well, I guess I could dig up this obsidian spot, couldn't I? It's only 700 degrees Celsius. Let's do that. Have at it, dupes. Dig away. Okay, so one really important thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that I have metal tiles over here and that the liquid loop is running in the right direction. So I'm going to have a aqua tuner over here filled with supercoolant, but it's also going to be feeding a steam turbine, and I'm guessing that's just going to be right in this area. It would be more efficient to put over here on the left, but now I've kind of already built that, so whatever. We're going to put over here on the right. I have plenty of supercoolant. So that part will be steel, and then this is steel, and then that's steel, and that's steel just like that, with steel on the way out. And then the material in between this, it's important to use a really good insulator. So in this case, I'm going to use ceramic. I might use insulation, but I don't really need to go that crazy with it. So ceramic should be just fine. But this liquid bridge, I'm going to make that out of whoa, hang on. We want to make this stuff out of realistic stuff. So ceramic, there you go. So that's where the coolant is going to run, just over here like this. Or you can run it the other direction. I mean, that works too. Actually, if I remember correctly, you want it to be the coldest up here. That way you can turn it into a liquid as fast as possible. And if it isn't enough, then it kind of falls down here and falls down here. You don't actually want to run this in reverse. So you do want the coldest in right here. It's a little bit reverse. It's a concurrent flow. All right, so we're going to make all of this wallpaper here out of obsidian, whether we can afford it or not. Actually, I think I might do something different inside of here. Background building. Ooh, what if we make it out of iso resin, just for the sake of it looking cool? Because I think that's a pinkish color. It's not very heat resistant. Never mind. It's too bad I don't have fossil. Fossil looks so cool, it's red. Oh well. Okay, so one thing is for sure. I'm definitely going to want to have all of my steam turbines like right up here. And I'm just going to need a lot of them, so we might as well just build as many as I can make. Okay, so this is where I'm going to build the steam turbine, right up here at the top, and then I'll have my little aqua tuner and stuff right down here on the bottom. Okay, so for the supercooling loop, this is going to flow out over here, and then back, and then down underneath like that. Boom. And then this one over here, this is actually just going to temperature control a lot of the turbines, since I'm going to have a lot of those up here, and a lot of other equipment that's going to be heating up all of those steam turbines. Like all the generators, they're all going to run at a higher temperature, so they will actually be giving off more and more steam, which will then be purified through the fact that it is steam and then turned into water. So that's all going to generate power and heat. But obviously all of that's going to need cooling. Okay, so now I've got a ton of natural gas, so I need to be able to consume all of that. That's where all of these natural gas generators are going to come into play. I also have a petroleum generator that needs to run as well, so that's going to be over here, just like so. Come on, dupes, you got a lot of stuff to build. All of this, plus we need all of the power for all of that stuff. Definitely dealing with heavy watt conductive wire at this point. Since all of this stuff in here is hot, it's really not a big deal. So it's all just strung together. Come on, dupes. Just more and more stuff just keeps piling up over here. All right, so all of these are going to output polluted water. That's just going to be so hot that it will flash into steam. I'll try to keep this room close to about 200 degrees Celsius. Thereabouts. Maybe 150 to 200. One thing's for sure, I need a lot of steel. How you doing down here? Which means we need a lot of lime. I've also got this little problem down here where I have tons and tons of natural gas. I need to make sure that that does not escape this room. So before things get out of hand, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little visco gel right here so that it can't get out. All right, there we go. Visco gel. Perfect. Now we don't have to worry about all of this just blowing into my base. You could just build up inside of there. All right, so how are we doing up here, dupes? Oh man, you got a lot of work to do. Okay, so I now still have all of this energy inside of this conveyor rail. I have to do something with it. So, let's try to feed a bunch more steam turbines. Holy moly. So right down here we'll have diamond tiles. That's going to absorb that thermal energy for me. And then on top of that I'm going to use doors. Do I even make those out of steel at this point? No, I can make them out of aluminum ore. Yay! So these are a temperature control coupler thing. So they will open and close, and that's going to heat up the floor, which heats up the steam, which runs the steam turbines. And I guess I made all that priority level 9. Alright, well that'll get done quick. Alright, so then I need a cooling loop to keep all of these steam turbines nice and chilly. So that's going to go in right here. And because we're in space, we need many more tiles in the background. There we go. These will be made out of... I'm making these out of granite because it's got a nice dark look. It isn't quite obsidian, but it is still quite awesome. I think we'll make this area here out of obsidian. Our favorite lawnmower is back. Hello, lawnmower. Alright, so I think that's a few things for my dupes to do. I'm gonna let them run for a little bit and see what they come up with. Alright, so an update for you. It looks like my dupes are continuing to build down here. They've been able to build a lot of the insulated tile because the Mafic is nearby. We are constructing a lot of the steel, so that seems to be going pretty good. Wonder how Drandalf's doing down there. The steel is going to be the one bottleneck that's going to hold us up. Actually not so much. Look at that, we have quite a bit of steel. How is the temperatures doing? Oh, they're doing great. Look at that, almost comfortable, dude. Alright, so I'm just going to bump up the priority on all of this stuff to 6, just to see how much further we can get. Okay, now when it comes to delivering gas to these natural gas generators, what I want to do here is I want to make a nice loop out of this. Now I'm guessing that the temperature of the gas is still going to be relatively high, so I want to make sure that this is still a radiant pipe. So I think copper ore will be just fine here. But we're going to create this loop where the gas is going to go in, and then it'll drop down like this, and then go into the second loop here. So that's 10 natural gas generators hooked up onto one pipe right there, so that's pretty good. Although I do have enough here for a total of 20 natural gas generators, so I might actually expand this whole thing one block over here and just keep building it even bigger. Okay, so I've got these first series of pumps right here, and that's going to feed these natural gas generators, just like that. The second one is going to go up and over here, and that will tie into a second block whenever we get around to actually being able to build that. Okay, now in order to get the carbon dioxide out of here, I want to stack these packets on top of each other. So I have to be kind of mindful about how I'm connecting all of these different things together. So we will go like this, and then like that, and then like that. Alright, so after a little bit of pipe spaghetti, all of these packets should stack on top of each other, and the output is right there. Oops, I nearly forgot the most important thing. That is the counterflow system. So this is going to kind of go right up over here, right? We don't really want it to do anything. Just kind of want it to get out of the way, flow up into this spot, and then once we get into this area, this is where we want to run a radiant pipe. We'll make this out of aluminum. So we have really, really cold natural gas here, but we have very hot sour gas at this point. So what we want to do is counterflow this back like this, and then take what should hopefully be hot natural gas, or relatively hot natural gas, and pass that into the natural gas generators. So by doing this, we're going to save a lot of energy as far as cooling down that sour gas over here. So that's why we're doing it. It's very, very important. So that will flow up here like this, and then it's all radiant, and then it's insulated, and the insulated runs into here. And then since it's going to be hot, we are then going to radiate that into the room and kind of help to heat up the room. Plus the liquids that come out of these generators are going to be at the temperature that the machine is. So we should be able to get it to turn into steam pretty much right out of the machine. Alright, so while having 10 natural gas generators would be great, if we can turn that into a power station, we can effectively have 15 natural gas generators over there. So, That's what I'm going to try to do here. And then if we mirror this, then I should be able to put the same sort of thing over here on this side. Let's just make sure I have enough room. Okay, I need to build these tiles up a little bit faster. Let's try to prioritize those. Okay, that right there is a total of 50. So then this is going to be 79 tiles. And the maximum room size I can have for a power station or a power plant is 96. Aha! So that'll work out perfect. Awesome. Okay, so there's one last thing I would like to plan out here, and that is how I'm going to get all of this material up to there. So I know that I'm currently recycling the rails like this, but what I want to do is take this rail and I want to run it up right here. And that means the other rail is going to flow up right over here to this spot, which means just something like that. Boom. So both of these will be flowing the exact same direction. So this will be from left to right, and then this is just the return. Do I have enough material? Oh, apparently I do. I might have to find some more though. I might be able to make the return line out of something that's a little bit lower temperature, like gold amalgam, because iron doesn't seem to, because the rail doesn't seem to be heating up if it's in a vacuum like this. So I might be all right with that. So I know for certain I want to ship all the way up over here just to go to all of this stuff. This here is probably going to be, the steam room down here is probably going to be expanded to match the total width. Why? Because it just looks right when you do that. I'm definitely going to double up on the natural gas generators once I even get this thing built to begin with. Wow. So this is a huge build. I'm going to have to cut this video into a couple of parts because it's going to take a very, very long time to build all of this. But hopefully you guys are looking forward to me turning this thing on here, and hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. If this looks like the channel for you, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. As always, stay awesome, guys. Peace. Brothgar out.